Coach Brock here with Backstop Built, the full catcher's training program. Thank you for tuning in today as I have a video that is going to help you tremendously with your blocking. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another one of these trainings that are super valuable for you. Also, go ahead and like this video as well. But today in this video, I am going to be talking about blocking positioning and timing throughout various stances. This video is going to be best for you if you don't understand how to block consistently from multiple stances, knee down stances, traditional secondaries, and if you feel like you always have to revert back to that one blocking position in game in order to be successful, especially if runners are on. That way, by the end of this video, you could take the right blocking mechanics and mindset into your training and game in order to be more successful and just overall consistent. So let's get right into it and identify the problem you're probably having right now. Most catchers have an ideal position or setup that they need to use in order to block the ball because they are the most confident in that position. For me, I could always block best, especially with the runner on third and the game on the line, and just kind of like a hybrid secondary. So I'm not that high up, but I'm definitely in a secondary. I felt like I could move side to side better, and I was able to just flat out block anything and just be a wall back there. For you, it could be a left knee down position where you just like to block from here and you're able to move side to side very easily. But what I'm getting at is for most players, it's usually just one or maybe two positions out of all the stances you have out there where you're comfortable in. Now this goes into the next thing I was going to talk about, which is the dysfunction into other positions and the value those other positions bring. So a huge example of this would be if I'm most confident in blocking from right here with runners on, because that's when blocking usually matters the most, or in a 2-strike count without runners on. But my best receiving stance is from a left knee down, and then my best throwing stance is from a right knee down kickstand. Those are three different positions I have to do in certain scenarios, and certain scenarios call for you to be ready to do all three at once. So then how do you pick which position you go in and what's more important? Because a lot of catching info out there can be super contradicting. We're told that you have to block no matter what, and that's very important. But then we realize if we don't throw runners out and we're a liability on the base pass with cutting down runs, then we're definitely not playing. And then now everything out there is saying that receiving steals more runs than anything. How does that make sense? The answer is all those are true. And in today's age, we have to be good at all of them if you want to be a starting catcher back there and play this game for a long time. So the challenge overall that you're going to have to do is get good at all of them and get comfortable with being able to do blocking, throwing, receiving from most of your positions so you can mix them in whenever. Now again, you're gonna have your favorite that you revert back to if the game was on the line. That's okay. But the big thing is, let's say there's a runner on first base and he's a tying run. We don't just want to let him walk to second, so we obviously have to be in a position where we're ready to throw. But we also don't want to give this at bat away just focusing on that throwing and not being able to receive well, so we need to be in a good receiving position so we could steal strikes and hopefully get an out here. Finally, we also have to block the ball because if we have a pass ball while he steals, he can go to third, and now it could be the game-winning run on third or game-tying run on third with only one out. That's why my challenge today is focusing on blocking with your positions to identify which position you are best at blocking, and then in the other categories and how to use that to your advantage. So overall, it's a huge issue if we have to gamble on, okay, we want to throw that runner out. This is my best throwing out position, but it's not my best blocking one at all. And it's an okay receiving one, but now we don't even know if he's going to go in this situation, but we're just banking on trying to throw him out. Or let's say there's a runner on third and we cannot let a pass ball get behind us, but there's also two outs, and if we get this batter out, we're out of the inning, and now we go into our best blocking position. For me, that like hybrid secondary, but this is definitely not my favorite receiving position. This is just me trying to play defense, not trying to let a pass ball happen. I'm not trying to steal strikes and get out of the inning quicker. So everything affects everything. Now that you understand that, we can start identifying what do you like to block from and what you don't like to block from, and the proper technique overall. So you could start working on that in all the positions, the ones you're most confident in, not confident. Now, if you're wondering how do I do this for throwing and receiving as well, I've created many other YouTube videos that go over this. I'm finally creating this one for blocking, so you can see how do I mix in my throwing within different stances, how do I mix in my receiving within different stances to be confident with that. Go through my channel and take a look at those. Super valuable stuff. But now let's dive into blocking, because we're going to use me for example and a lot of other catchers that feel like they are most comfortable with blocking from a both knees up stance, because that is usually what your coach is going to work on you with. Not a lot of coaches in today's age are going to let you block from a knee down stance when runners are on, or want you even in that stance because you haven't proved to them you can do it. And it's not on them. If you have pass balls, that makes the game go by very slow. So what you have to do is get confident enough so you can show your coach you could do it in game, and then he'll be confident in you and let you do that. But now we're going to talk about something that might be a little controversial and confusing. The reason knee down stances are nice is because we have more time to do things because we're closer to the ground. And a lot of the the things we do as a catcher, we have to take an extra second to adjust when we're in these other stances, and that takes more time. So when you throw down, you're not closer to the ground, so you have to hop up. Sometimes you have to do things like that. When you're receiving, you have to spend time getting lower to the ground if you want to get that mitt under the zone. When you're blocking, you have to take time to fall down to the ground. Everything as a catcher, we want to work from the ground up, so the less time we take getting to the ground, so then we don't have to come back up, actually makes us have more time, if that makes sense. So obviously when you're blocking with both legs up, I teach where we turn the glove, fall into the block as we pull our arms back. Very high level move there to soften the blow. This is what the position would look like. Boom, this hand can either go behind here or behind you, whichever one you decide. I always like it right there. That is what it looks like, falling a little bit forward. If you paid attention to where my head started up here to where it ends, see how it moves down? When we're in a knee down stance when blocking, we're already on the ground. So we take a lot of the timing out of it. You should never really be late with knee down blocking because you're already there. And literally what we have to focus on here is turning the mitt and then making sure we have that good chest angle and covering up this hole. There can be a hole there sometimes, especially if you're in a kickstand. Chest direction with knee down blocking is huge, but you have more time to recognize the pitch, anticipate it, and then actually see it come down. You have more time to do all that. That's why a lot of the catchers at MLB do knee down blocking with guys throwing 95, 100. It allows them more time. To you right now, since you haven't had the technique down, especially with dry reps, things like that, it feels very hard. One of the biggest issues I see that I was gonna go over is you getting stuck. Blocking from here, this doesn't feel like a good position. My elbow kind of hit there. You don't have that feel. But how does an MLB catcher stay tucked like that and just perfectly smother it right there? It's these tiny little tweaks of where they know themselves and they find their favorite positioning and technique so they know how to apply it and what pitches they could do this most effectively on. Remember, you're calling the pitches. If you have a pitcher who spikes his curveball right here, don't be surprised when he spikes a curveball right there. So get in a blocking position. I like to push off with this leg. So know like, oh, boom, okay, we're expecting one over there. In your training, something that's going to be huge is you focusing on these small pushes. I like to push with this one. You can even pull with that one. So going over like that and that motion, if you need to go over there, we could pull this way and get used to that. These are tiny movements that you don't feel comfortable in, but they're really not that scary. You just need to get a lot more confident in them. So the biggest thing I want to drive home is that in knee down blocking, you have more time. You're already closer to the ground. So don't worry about your legs having to get down. You have more time to recognize, but we have to control our chest. I see so many players just knee down block like this and just like hope for the best. It's like, no, we are pretending like we're getting into this ideal positioning if we were to come down with both knees up, but now we're already down here and we have more time to get there, but we just need to manually make sure we're getting forward and aligning with where that ball is. So in your training, what I recommend you do, start off slow. Start off with dry reps. Get a good feel for where your mobility is at, where your hips are at. Everyone is different. Start with the leg really tucked in, do some blocks there, see where you're at, kick it out and work it all the way out to a kickstand. Do that on each leg. Start from dry reps, start from someone rolling you the ball, and then start from someone just sitting in front of you a little bit and just doing little darts in the ground and get that feel. Then you can work back. In my program, I have every guy make a checklist of what their most comfortable stance is and their least comfortable stance so we can see what we need to be working on. That's more for mental. Either way, we want to get reps in no matter what in all of them, because it's hard to know what you need to be training towards if you don't even know where you're at. An honest evaluation of which stance you like and which stance is a liability. And honestly, if you do not work on this stuff, it is not magically going to get better. These catchers you see at the highest level doing it, making it look easy, this stuff is simple. It is not easy. So this is going to take reps and things like that. That's why I built my program, the Backstop built full catchers training program, so we can work on this stuff every day, get you to that elite level in a 6-month time span, all together mentally, physically. I'm going to put my booking link below if you want more information on that. I'll also put my website link below so you can see the other guys I've worked with and also a video that explains everything that I do. Go ahead and check those out in the description below. But if you want to do the figure it out yourself version, I'm going to try and help you as much as I can in this video, so we'll get right back to it. Pretty much what I'm saying is you need to start with comfortability, but also evaluation. Find what's comfortable, but make sure you have someone watching you or film and you're able to see, okay, this one was my most comfortable, but it looks the worst. So that's going to tell you a lot of where you're at with that. Maybe it's comfortable, but your chest is too far up. So now it's a mobility issue. as a coach, I'm all about identifying the issue first and then working straight towards that one. And then if another one arises further on, then we're able to see that easier versus us just trying to fix everything and hoping it sticks. So with the specific technique, what I would be practicing is loading our glove down. As we load, we don't know the ball's in the dirt yet, so we have to load our glove down because it could be a ball we could steal for a strike. We load our glove down, and then I want you to practice turning your mitt and pull back as your chest is going forward. And realistically, we need to get so good at chesting up the ball. So many coaches are concerned about this. If we're good at recognizing and anticipating that pitch, let's say the ball is going to bounce right here, we should already be right here with our chest. We shouldn't be missing it like over there. Bouncing in there would be the equivalent to us being in this position and it bouncing past us. That shouldn't happen if we get in front of it. That's something not a lot of coaches talk about. Honestly, this leg kicked out is just kind of a Hail Mary. If it did take a crazy bounce and hits us, cool. But we are trying to chest everything up. We want this to be a magnet. So I hope you're able to understand exactly what I'm talking about and the importance of the blocking timing, how you have way more time, the positioning of where you need to get, and how you need to focus on where that ball tunnel is going to be. Make sure in your bullpens, I would mix in many different positions of blocking with many different pitchers so you know, okay, our lefty ace, his changeup bounces here and actually goes way far that way. So when you call a changeup, you're going to be in a nice rhythm position to where you're like ready to block that way. So you could do small progressions of this stuff and work it up to someone throwing to you, and then eventually off of a machine, and then eventually in a bullpen as well. But you need to get comfortable of doing all these, realize you have way more time than you think. So focus on anticipating the ball, get that glove down, and then look for the ball, okay, boom, and then really get good at these small movements. You can have a little bit of rhythm if you need to turn over, and focus on pushing even with this knee down, focus on that. I like to keep this toe curled underneath me so I could just push off a little bit too if I need. But that is all I have for this video. I hope you understand everything I'm saying and you can apply it to your training. Like I said, it is more important to understand what you need to be working on so you can identify where you're at now versus me just tell you every single drill and you just go on and do it blindly. I'll have many more of these videos coming out that are super valuable for you. As I said before, I'm Brock Johnson, striving to be the coach that I wish I had. God bless, stay the course.